Hello and welcome, as today's date comes in that of Monday, the 11th day of November 2019. All bets, trades of the like, well, that's within each's own risk and their own reward. The first chart shown on the screen is 100 subtract Bitcoin dominance. I guess this would be altcoin dominance, or because it's 31.6 or 2/3% of the market being that of altcoins, and 68 and 1/3 being that of Bitcoin. But when you look at it from this perspective, we're seeing from this April 1st move, well, there was a decline in the market as it pretty much went from near half at that stage to near a quarter. What we have established is first this level of resistance, and that's not a straight line, nor does it need to be, because we can see in here it supported it. It went below it in here, but has now, since over the past several days, gotten above this level and has now reached this last recently tested level of resistance, hit 1, 2, and 3 different times, which really doesn't coincide with the previous level of resistance, which would mean about 33 and 1/6, or about a little over 33 would be the next level, or on the opposite end, that would be near 67. Let's take a look at the actual Bitcoin dominance next, which is showing that bearish pattern, that failed breakout in here on the daily, showing that it's failing on the 18th. It had 3 days from the 6th to the 8th where it resisted it after it supported the previous day. Last 2 days, the falling below and continuation, we can see in yesterday's session had a little line up, but has obviously given back those moves within the market. When we view it via the single hour term time frame, there's a little bit of a short term. There's that little move that we were showing there that where it went up a bit. There's that failed breakout in there, not supporting the 18, and then just a fast move down to this previous low, and just yada, just congesting in that area for the last several hours. Bitcoin is down today, as we had the price action get above this level of resistance and not support last night. And where did it go to? Well, it's resisting this area. You'd be looking for support, and it did support here on the 1 hour timestamp. But then after lifting off, making the new low, now it has been resisting this general area. When we take a look at this on the daily chart, well, this is the area of the must hold. It looks like that's where it's en route, that being price action, to where I'd be seeing it go towards. And that area would be around 8,300 and change, well, even 8,200. But I guess, yeah, 8,200 most certainly would be in this congestion area, this level of resistance in here. But really, more importantly, having a significant higher low from here. Let's now move on to some altcoins, and as I mentioned, I figured yesterday it would pierce above the line of 47.16, and most certainly it did that. But early signs isn't much for that of resistance, and we maybe it's just a little. It's what the pierce above is going to be, but if it's well overextended, this atom price, that green candle after green candle. But what has not occurred is a magnificently individual day of amazing proportions. So when I see a pattern looking like this, yeah, I'm looking for, are we resisting it? But I'm also looking for breaks of resistance. I want to see if an uptrend line is going to break. And the daily chart, I don't think, is going to do me justice for the trend that I'm looking for. The 8 hour should be fine. The 3 hour most likely is going to be the one I'm going to want to look at. So let's go ahead. I'm going to push the print screen on my keyboard and bring up Microsoft Paint. Alrighty, so let's take a look at this. And the trend I'd be looking at is, okay, well, where are the key points that are connecting? We got this one here, so where do we, because this one already has broken out above. I don't know why it did that, but I know why it did that, because I pushed this and not this. So let's do it again. Because this rate of ascent, but obviously I want the, can I put a higher rate of ascent in? Let's do a support line first. See what I can come up with this on this. Is this a good rate of ascent? It seems to be where support is hitting pretty good. Even a bit of a higher rate of ascent. So I really need to connect these upper lows from the last 3 support hits. So how am I going to... I think this is the support line to use. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw over this line and see where I should be placing it as far as resistance. I want the pretty much the exact same rate of ascent, and that will work. And I'm going to now move it like this and see if I connect it to here. It doesn't really count. And here, something like this, I want to really hit as many points as possible. That to me almost seems like where to go. And I'm going to push the, I'm going to zoom in on this. And it's at that major situation point now, I can see. Where if this thing can get going for any significant rallies, and looking at price action, given that this line is breaking north of 5,000, if I notice it's well noticeably in today's session, north of that number, 51, 50, 50, 51.50, 52, 52.50 minimum, I think, then you got to give it the benefit of the doubt that we could be possibly seeing a continuation of even more than 20-25% in a very quick allocated amount of time. Okay, let's go back to the charts itself. But as it goes, price action is overextended. Where I'm coming back from, well, this little area here at around 3,700 is this area of support. Also, I'll try to move my phone because I think that text message might have been a little too loud. And maybe you might have thought if you had the same message, you might have had a text message. Nope. But anyway, continuing on, and I'd had to work towards that or attend to that. So why is the lines doing that? Look at that. And it's now just pausing it. If I just scroll down a bit to get more data, say it's going to move. Nope. There we go. I mean, that is so weird. Anyway, that's the item information. Now let's go into Bitcoin Cash. And we talk about setups and all that type of stuff. This has been the longer range that the price against Bitcoin has been in since it started breaking down there in the second week of July. Well, I'm trying to find my delete button, and I think it's, there we go, it was hidden. What's going on now in this little setup? Definitely showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs, and it has been for the whole month. We've had this level of resistance, but it didn't stay there that long. We can see as it went up, it fell down, and it fell graciously large here. And then we had just a short period of time here. A little more, but nothing like now at this level here. So the fact that it has held and stayed above in here. So it's supported this resistance. That in itself is strong. But then we go further with how we look at this. We got resistance in here. And as I've stated before, you have a big move like this. From point low to point high. It's so important to hold and stay above. And it could have even went down further to this point in here, but that it didn't. That's fine. It could have supported the 18, of course, the 18 lows here. And then we retest that area again. High or low. Retest it again. High or low. And then now we are retesting it now. and marginally higher high, but this thing to me has been poised, it seems, for several days, especially into today, that this thing could be having that of a great move. So let's take a look at just what's been going on in here on the more shorter term time frame. And I'll do so within the triple hour or 1/8 day. I don't know if anyone ever says it from that perspective. So as we can see in here on the 25th, it has this quick move down in here. So as it gets to this point of resistance to this level, it does that. Supporting here, resisting higher, but this whole level of support has just been that fantastic part. Chance to break out here. Holding and staying above the 18th, successful correction. Resisting it here, holding and staying above again. Both situations, it had a good pierce below, but it survived it each time. Now we have been seeing every single period in here showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs, with this very interesting one in here that happened yesterday morning. So the setup to me here looks pretty good, and I'm just curious about that yesterday morning one. When did it happen? It happened at 11 o'clock. I haven't seen this. I am so curious to what happened. This is just your typical every day. No, it's not typical. Wow, wowzers. What was the volatility? 32.8, 31.5. That's a differential. That's about 4%. Something crazy was going on. I mean, before the fact, it was like all this was yada yada, normal stuff. Somebody sold pretty aggressive here, and then a little bit of an uptrend failed move, and all this happened, and then everything would just go back to normal, and it would settle down. Big participants in here selling and buying back and forth to each other. I don't know. Anyway, on to the next coin, which is Stellar Lumens. I talked about this a couple days ago, and it's doing what I thought it was going to do. I guess the lines are going to go crazy on me here. Don't know why it's doing that. I mean, look at that. That is terrible. Come on, get those. Why it's doing that, I don't know. I gotta remove them. That's just bad. Don't want to do that. Accidentally pushed that. I'm not gonna say way too often, but at least 15, 20 times. Probably 6 or 7 times on tape. Well, the setup here for Lumens is still looking fantastic, as we can see the resistance having this great correctionary move ever since it's gotten this level of resistance, supporting it in here, matching this resistance, and we're seeing the excitation, and as I've been stating, on a break above this resistance, and that's what looks like the next stage or the next step on the journey here for Stellar Lumens seems to be. Now let's transition into Neo. Can you see the pattern I see? Yeah, I mean, I've said so much on here. I'm just going to show it to you. You should be able to see it yourself. So this is the daily on the triple hour. Yeah, we can see how this resistance, yeah, looking pretty good. Target area up here next. Looks like that might be happening soon. Single hour, this thing has been going off pretty nice since 4 o'clock this morning. It's been correcting over the last several periods, few hours. Couple hours. Anyway, the move in here came at 4 o'clock, topping at 9:30. It's 11:22 as I'm doing this now. So it's in this correctionary phase. And if this fails the 18 after a move like this, so I'm looking to come back into here. Oh, how does you always want to longer the time, make the time frame longer, hour. Okay, well, there's a spot where I want to see it correct within the 18. It's rising. And if this goes extremely higher than that, then it's going to be higher than that, like the 3 hour and so on and so forth. But I think Neo has a nice setup moving forward. And I don't know what's going on here. I've just peeked at the 1 hour. I haven't looked at the shorter term on this. It's probably just like Bitcoin Cash. This is Litecoin against Bitcoin. Somewhat similar. Bitcoin Cash with a much nicer look, of course. But, I mean, what was going on here? The hour time frame is going to be like wowzers. It's the same thing. It's just more volatile. This went up to 750. I didn't even know this. This is the day after the fact, too. Interesting. The setup looks pretty good. Yeah, this is the hourly time frame. This is on Binance too. This isn't just some small exchange. Regardless of the fact, the hourly time frame right now, I like how the last few these periods on the 18 highs is looking, so I like the setup here. Hence, I started with Bitcoin dominance, and we can see here some of these altcoins and what they're doing. I haven't looked at Ethereum. I'll take a look at that just because it's one of the bigger alternate coins. But let's take a look at what went down yesterday. Same time frame, so something happened at that time. I'm going to be curious with Ethereum. I haven't looked at Ethereum in days and days and days and days. And when I looked at it a few days ago, I didn't look at much of it. I didn't see it for that much. Same sort of shenanigans going on within the Bitcoin Cash. What did this look like against the dollar? And then we're going to go to Ethereum. Let's see, which is the best one to go with? Well, usually the top one is the highest exchange one, but I want to do an actual real market like Bitfinex, I think. Not really. How about Tether? Tether against Binance. Yeah, that looks better. So we're talking yesterday. Oh, it's a typical fail move, fast move on this on the dollar term. So this one makes a little more sense, but that was just crazy. The failed breakout, the fast move higher that occurred within the market. Let me just see if Ethereum against the dollar looks like this next. So what did 11 o'clock yesterday look like on Ethereum? Did it do the same shenanigans? Yes. The failed move lower and then the fast move higher. So I gotta only presume that on here, Ethereum would have done the same thing. This is Bittrex chart. Let's move this over to Binance. This one's a little more coordinated, I guess. This is an interesting looking chart. Goes down, up and down like this. Of course, if you were there to day trade that, there was a short period of time. How much volatility is this? 20.95 up to 20, 0.25%. I'm just going to scroll it this way. Alrighty then, so what do we see here? Hourly time frame. Decent looking setup here. Daily term. Wow, nice setup. Cup and handle, you could call this, but big resistance level at the 227 handle for sure. Okay. Alright then, not much more else to go over. We'll go over my fantasy chart. This is my attempt to turn practically nothing into 5 figures. I'm only up 40 bucks, not even 40 bucks right now. I'm looking at this because I play individual hockey games, and I'm getting better and better. If I would have played the aggressive play I was thinking yesterday, I would have had more than an 8% winning day. Actually, it was 10% of a profit on my stakes, and the stakes are tiny. It was like 10 bucks, 11 bucks yesterday. I won like $1 or something profit. But my goal is, again, I like doing this with bankrolls, take a bunch of nothing, and then turning it into something. We'll see if it works. So for me, November, December is preseason. And in preseason, what I look at that as, it's lower stakes, of course, figuring things out, just learning stuff more and more. And you're learning more and more. Last night, I'm like, okay, I found an interesting way of putting a lineup in, and I'm going to be curious to see how many people do it. Well, it worked out to 1 in 500. Well, it's 200 people out of over 1,000. Two people out of over 1,000. which was way too low. And was profitable because of it. So I look at all the mathematics and stuff like that, and it's pretty darn near fun to do stuff like this. And I'm going to minimize this because I got no other choice. This might look pretty weird. Okay, really not as bad as I thought. I'm going to bring in another spreadsheet from last night, if I have it up. See, I take the data in here. This is like preseason for football. This is like a cheap game. $2 this cost me a day. What I've done is I've sorted this. I've taken, this is the read-only file. This isn't the one that I want. Where's the untitled one? Right here. Because I get a read-only file, but I can't do anything with it, so I have to copy and paste it into here. So what this is every single lineup that played in a 10-cent game. This is on DraftKings. And the winner in here managed to have this lineup. So 2 people shared the winning lineup at 162.08. So I first sorted it by points, which they already sorted that way. Then I sorted by lineup. So I can look for unique lineups. I can find out like minutes after once I get like 3 minutes after the cutoff time of the game. I can get this spreadsheet, and in minutes I can find it because I sort it this way. I first sort by points, then I sort it by lineup. And even if you just sort it by lineup, that's all you need to go. So then what I would do, and I'm just going to adjust the size of this so I can show you the search field. I use the username AG47. That stands for silver. That's the atomic symbol element of it. So therefore, what I would do is I would search for my name. So the best I finished was in 1325th place. But I did so with this BM Mac guy. But I can see here that this lineup here that had Kyle Rudolph, Tony Pollard, which was my losing play, but Randall Cobb, Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, Dalvin Cook. Nobody else had that. And I would continue on further, and these were all my lineups that I had. But what I noticed is most of them were unique, and I'm using the entire season as preseason for next year. There's really 2 stakes that are available. One is small, one is high. I talked about this earlier a few days ago, so you have to watch that video for Daily Football Showdown, because I explained the actual game itself. It's a $10 lineup, 150 maximum entry, $1,500 a night, 3 nights a week. I can't afford that on a risk-reward management level. The next game, which I'm not playing, is a 50-cent game, also 150 lineup, so $75. I most certainly can afford that on a risk-reward level, but I'm not going to because I don't want to. It is kind of high, $225 a week, and I just can't handle losing that because I'm only going game theory or theory based. That my football strategy and how to play is profitable long term, where your lineups on the short term should be grinding lower. I got 1,100 lineups in here, but really it's less than that because I plugged the same lineup in like 2, 3, 4 times in like a quarter game, dime game, maybe a quarter game again, another same dime game, and that's pretty much what I'm doing. My average stake per lineup is 25 cents. So I've got like 1,000 played, and I got like $250 stake so far, and I've won like 290 back. So that's like, what, 40 on 250? That's like, what, 18, 19% so far? And interestingly, I have been so unlucky. What do I mean by unlucky? Well, I watch these games or listen to them. Actually, I'd rather listen to them. And when I do so, I'm in situations where, like, man, I'm in great, like 4 or 5 times I was in great shape for a big score, big win, but something happened near the end of the game or in the third period. That would trigger me to not getting that. An empty net goal by somebody else tied it. Most recently, it was 1-0 in the third period for the team that was winning. I think it was Nashville, and San Jose won 2-1 in overtime. If the game ended in a shutout, or any way for Arizona winning in non-shootout form, for Nashville, I was having a huge score. But I was set up where if the game ended 1-0, 2-0, I was going to be big. So I've had 4 or 5 lose that way. But I've had one work in my favor as well, where I was able to I've had one big score overall. So this game, this one score here, I've had one really good one. I guess I've had a couple good scores, maybe. No. This one here was I got this is one of the unlucky ones. Actually, I should have won a lot more. I think. I can't remember being lucky twice. I can remember being unlucky 5 times. But the way I look at it is, in situations of that kind of luckiness, that's coin flip. Those things should be getting you good as it does bad just as often. We'll see how it goes. But I have to believe in game theory. I know for sure hockey's profitable for me in this. And with high rake, it's like wow. I mean, because I don't like how DraftKings takes way too much rake, which is basically 1,189 players and 189 they pay back. That's like close to 20%. That is extreme. However, to be able to have a game of that nature and still be profitable, that's just a cool thing. And again, if I can get this into 5 figures, I'll talk more and more about how I did it and why I said I was going to do it, because I think I'm going to. Take care. Bye-bye.